A few days ago I posted 2 videos about how I made this building, but the problem is I made it in one piece, which isn't good for printing. Because when you print a building like this in one piece, you'll need to add a lot of supports to have it print without warping. And even with a lot of support, you'll still experience some weird warping and unexpected things. You'll need to test print a few times, and even then, it will be hard to get it to print correctly. So in this video I'll show you how I separate it and set it up in 3 different pieces for printing, and the best part is I won't need any supports. So let's get started. I also want to replace this corrugated iron roof with a terracotta roof tile. So let's start with that. I have all my parts copied and separated into a separate selection. It's always a good idea to make backup copies of your model before you start making big changes. It also helps me not to be scared to change things, because I know I can at any point revert to the previous model and start again. So let's get started with the roof. I'm gonna select the boards and the roof and hide them for now. I'm also gonna remake this part. I don't know about the gutters, so I'm just gonna hide them for now. I will use this part and select these vertices and duplicate them and separate by selection. Then I will hide this again. Now I'm gonna fill this face and this face, and let's move it up a bit so it's not intersecting with the walls anymore. First let's make the roof beams. So I'm gonna select these edges, duplicate them, separate by selection, into edit mode, and let's extrude this on the y-axis by 0.18 in the minus direction. And let's also extrude it on the z-axis by 0.2, 0.3 maybe? No, 0.2. Let's add a array modifier, set it on the y-axis. Now let's extrude this up on the z-axis, like that. Let's select these parts. Let's select this side, GG to slide, and C to disable the clamp. And let's move it out to about here. I'm actually gonna select these and delete the one side, and then add a mirror modifier and select this part as the mirror. Next I will append the roof tiles I made in a previous building in part 3. So let's append this collection, delete the rest. Let's rotate it on the z-axis. Now I'm gonna do a backup copy, and let's apply the array modifiers. Go into edit mode, and I'm gonna select this, GG to slide and C, and snap it to this edge. Now I will select these 2 edges and fill them, and to fill the rest select this one and just hold F. Oh yeah, first I select everything and merge by distance. By the way, let me know in the comments if you would like to see a tutorial on making the tileable roof tiles. Let's also delete this edge. Then in X-ray mode, slide this so it's lining up. Actually, I'm gonna select this and scale it by 0 on the y-axis, and also add a mirror modifier. And let's enable clipping. Next I want to delete all of the geometry which won't be visible on the underside except for this row. So inside view, then delete the vertices, select this edge, extrude something like this, then scale by 0 on the z-axis, and also scale by 0 on the x-axis, like that. Then I'm gonna extrude into the middle, like this. Let's add some loop cuts, With the face selected, Ctrl T to triangulate, and let's do the same on this side. Face, Ctrl T. Let's select this part. To line up the roof tiles with this, I go into side view, and in X-ray mode I select it, and in the snapping I set the snap base to active, and then select the edge like this, and on the y-axis snap it to an edge. I suck at explaining this. I will reuse the gutters because I don't want to make them again. So I'm just gonna move them into the correct position. Select this part, actually. Let's see. I will have to separate this, so I shift select the rest, P to separate by selection. Now let's fix this. Let's give it a little bit of a gap, something like that. Now we have to fill this face. Let's select the whole face and press F to fix it like that. In side view, I also have to line up the side of the gutter like that, and the other side as well. That should be good. Actually, let's move it up a tiny bit. There we go. Now let's also fix the underside. I'll have to select the bricks and also scale them on the Z axis by 0 and snap them to the base. Let's snap this to the base. It's important to have the whole underside flat so it can make good contact with the print bed. Now let's do the same for this gutter. I'm just gonna eyeball it, something like this. This is already looking so much better. I think it will be best to print part of the upper structure of this porch along with the roof. So you don't have to add supports underneath here to have it print correctly. So I was thinking to separate the bricks, so it's only the pillars that print with the floor and the rest of the walls. So let's try that. In X-ray mode I will select like this and Ctrl plus to grow the selection, then separate by selection. Let's move this down a bit and select this, separate by selection. Let's hide part of this for now and only focus on the roof. Another thing to think about is how will the roof stay in place. I think I will have to add some. Let me just try something. Let's delete these faces. Let's add a face like this and also a face there. Now I just have to do the same on this side. Let's add a face, select these two, subdivide, make sure it's in the middle, and let's dissolve the extra edges. Let's first do the walls and then the bricks. So I want to print this as one piece and then this as one piece. I think it's the best way to cut it up so it can print without supports. Actually, it might need a few supports in this area. Read to boolean everything into one manifold object. I know it's not necessary to boolean everything into one manifold object, but I feel like if you want to teach people how to do it or sell or publish your models, I think it's more professional to boolean everything into one manifold object. To boolean everything together, I use the geometry node, mesh boolean, set union and exact, and then just hit Ctrl A hovering over the modifier. It's gonna take a while to compute depending on how dense your mesh is. The roof alone is 51,000 triangles, which is not that much. So after applying the mesh boolean, I select everything and Ctrl T to triangulate and Ctrl J to make everything quads again. And then I do merge by distance. And then check for any errors. Only 6 intersecting faces, which is not bad. So let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna undo a few steps and make this so it's not at exactly the same level as the other part. With these parts selected, I'm gonna move them up just a tiny amount. So G, Z and 0.005. It's also gonna create a few errors on this side with all of the meshes fighting, but that will be easy to fix. So let's make sure to select everything. Let's apply all the transformations. You see these faces are fighting. This will create errors after merging everything together using the union, but it should be easy to fix. So let's add the geometry. First join them together and let's do the boolean operation again. Let's see. Let's select everything again and triangulate, make quads again and merge by distance, and let's check again. That fixed all of the intersecting faces. We don't have any non-manifold edges or bad contiguous edges, which is if you didn't know, the top 3 is the main ones to worry about. So let's see. I think it did a pretty good job at merging this together. I am gonna clean this up a bit. Perfect. With the roof done, let's hide it, and actually I still have to fill these, so let's fill them. There we go. Select all, Ctrl J, and let's repeat the process. Ctrl T, Ctrl J, merge by distance, check all 9 intersecting faces. Let's see. Easy fix. Anytime you have faces that's exactly on the same level that are fighting, Blender doesn't know what to do and it can cause some errors. Let's just subdivide this. And one more time. That should fix it. A non-manifold edge. Let's triangulate. There we go. Now we have 2 parts, the walls and the roof. The downpipes will be a bit fragile, but I think it will be fine. Oh yeah, let's also clean up this side a bit. Just to make sure it's flat, I go into top view, and in X-ray mode I will select only the faces on the side and scale them on the y-axis by 0. And you can see it wasn't actually completely flat. And let's do the same on the other side. So select only the faces on the edge, like this, and scale on the y-axis by 0. You see it makes a tiny difference. So let's do a final check. And now it's good for printing. Let's check the wall just to make sure. That's also good. So let's save and go to File, Port STL. I copy my file directory and paste it in Blender, and I do selection only, and because I work in meters I do 10 on the scale multiplier, and then I export STL. And let's do the same for the walls. Export STL, and let's just rename it from roof to walls. Hit export, and let's open highlight box. I know highlight box isn't the best slicer, but it does the job. Let's import the roof. It warns for some errors, but okay, let's rotate it. Okay, I have to fix this. Let's hide the walls. What? Let's slide these. Ctrl T, triangulate. Okay, there we go. Let's check it just to make sure. Export STL. Seems okay. Let's move the walls over a bit, and let's rotate it on the... what am I doing? Reset. Rotate it by 90. Now this part will need some supports, so I'm just simply gonna add a few. That should be good enough. Alright, let's go to slicing. Actually, let's check it from the top view. Seems good to me. I'm gonna print it at 0.04, like this, and hit slice. Not too much resin consumption, 5.5 hours print size, I think it's good enough. Let's do remote printing and transfer it over the Wi-Fi. And that's it.